Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Arms Room 15 podcast. I am joined here with my buddies, Eric, Devin.
How's it going? You
Hello.
can't see me wave. I got a computer in the way.
We are he's trying to get his computer to update, so I know what you're thinking. For all of you who watch this, like, dang, Eric and Josh switched places. Well, that's because it's not Eric's show and tell time. It's Josh's show and tell time. Ladies and gentlemen, you already had the bolt pulled back.
Actually, I think you're the one who pulled the bolt back because you're the last one to mess with it.
Hey.
All right, blame me, of course.
It's your rifle, man.
All right, so
User
this
error.
is a Palmetto State Armory. This is actually one of the first rifles that I built. But last night, in a fit of, I don't know, call it nervousness, call it just wanting to keep my mind busy, I decided to change it up. It was a 5.56. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't tell by this beautiful banana style mag, it is a 7.62 by 3.9 AR-15. The AR, AK, if you will. The best of both worlds. The Iraq.
We're gonna get hit trademark hit.
I can't trademark it. Someone already got to it.
That's right. If you don't turn that magazine into yellow, I'm gonna be greatly
And
disappointed.
you gotta put the sticker on there.
Mhm.
Oh, I'll do it. So have you seen the actual AK mags that US Palm did that look like that? They
yeah.
even have the blue bottom on it to look like the little blue tape they used to put on the bananas.
Yep.
Yeah, I will totally do that. But I've got to take it to the range first. I've got to get her a good test going. Because I'm going to tell you, the first shot, I'm going to be like... Be a little afraid on that first shot, but...
You lack conviction.
Nah, I'm pretty confident in what I got.
We'll just all be sitting there. Do it.
Do it.
Yeah, see, these guys will be next to me going, do it!
Kill me.
Do it!
Do it now.
I want you to do it. I want you to do it. I want you to do it.
Do it.
That's
Well-
a Fortnite reference.
Alright, so that was my little show and tell piece. Today we're going to talk about a little something that's it's a little heavy. I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely been feeling a little heavy-hearted about it. At this point in time, a lot of stuff has changed every hour, just about. But for those who don't know, Israel did get attacked on... They said
Saturday.
30 different breaches to their border. They hit by land, sea, and air. Hamas is the terrorist group, and I don't care if YouTube don't like that word. That's exactly what they are. They are a terrorist group, and they attacked Israel. Now, I believe didn't Hezbollah attack from the north as well?
No,
No, they haven't done anything yet.
Oh, I thought
not yet.
I thought they
Thirst.
did get attacked by the north and the south, but they did get attacked from the Gaza Strip, which is right inside Israel. And
Well, they've been attacked by the Gaza Strip, but then I also have stuff. They're trying to pull people from the West Bank as well.
okay,
Yeah, I think that they're trying to. Because, I mean,
And both parts are inside of Israel. by the
Yeah.
way.
yeah. So far, as of today, I believe there is 3,000 wounded, 1,000 dead, and at least 150 captured or taken hostage by the group Hamas.
some of which are American, actually, because they took them out from a music festival.
Yep. They came into a music festival and opened fire. And for those who are here in America who know, we had something very similar happen as far as shooting up a music festival in Las Vegas. That was a very tragic moment in our country's history, but this is also a tragic moment in Israel's history. For sure, it's not good. I mean, it seems like daily they are adding to the numbers, and they said 11 of the Americans that were there involved are dead, confirmed
It
dead.
has gone up to 14 now.
Oh, it's gone up to 14 now.
They raised it just today.
Okay. Yeah. So that's yeah. It sucks, but I kind of want to look at this from a perspective of this is another reason why we need to stay armed and be armed. Or be armed and stay armed, however you want to look at it. But, Eric, you wanted to bring this topic up. You got anything you really want to throw out there?
I mean,
Other than the obvious that it absolutely sucks.
I mean, I'm gonna be very harsh here for a second, because I watch a few different news programs, and the one I was watching yesterday, the guy was actually showing actual video of that was taken in Israel during the time of the attack, and I mean, I seen a lot of things. I seen them like they're kidnapping women and children to take them as part of the hostages. I had seen a woman being taken captive where it was pretty clear that she had been raped and sodomized by these people. And she was taken captive. They were parading a naked woman's body around on the street after they had killed her. Most likely she had been raped beforehand.
That was the German college student, I believe.
Yep.
They had her in the back of the truck. Basically, yeah, after they stripped her naked and killed her, as they were driving down the road, the militants got video of them like spitting on her body.
Yep.
Like, that is absolutely horrendous. And you know what's crazy is I've seen that in Chicago and New York, there's actually pro-Palestine and pro-Israel protests or demonstrations, however you want to call it, going on right now. And for those who don't know, like, if you are supporting Hamas or if you're supporting Palestine, like, you have to understand this is what you're supporting. You're supporting people who are doing this. You're supporting people that shot the elderly and young children in the face.
They what you're supporting, like Josh said, excuse me, is what the things we have listed. These people have also beheaded babies.
Was that confirmed? That
was confirmed.
Because I saw that today, but I don't think that was confirmed.
No, it was confirmed by the Israeli government. They found 40 bodies of adolescent children, babies that were decapitated. So yeah, they did that. I actually seen a video that I personally had to look away from because they had shot and incapacitated this Israeli guy and then proceed to take what looked like a hoe and start decapitating him. And I actually had to look away from that one. It is worth mentioning that we as Americans, especially like Josh and I who haven't served in the military, we live in a bubble. And this bubble, you know, it surrounds us and it keeps us safe, and we are basically shielded from stuff like this very often. And so when you see something like that happening, especially to a country that is not that is used to combat, that is used to another country trying to constantly kill its people and take it out, it's a shock. It's a huge shock. And it is worth mentioning that, you know, if you support Hamas right now, I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I'm also kind of not sorry. These are pieces of human garbage, and you are part of the problem. That if you're pushing for the negotiation or like a de-escalation type thing, no, that's not the time for this right now.
Yeah, so the Prime Minister of Israel came out, Benjamin Netanyahu, and said that the response is going to be severe and it is going to be swift. Basically, he laid it out that this is unexcusable and we're not going to just slap them on the hands this time because, you know, Devin, you can probably attest to this more because you know a lot of what happened in the, you know a lot more about the like army side of things, but they've been kind of going tit for tat for a long time, have they not?
It's sort of. So they've been. So Hamas been around since the 80s. So they've been kind of every about 10 years or so, they'll hop up and they'll do something, right? They'll do something stupid, and then Israel will respond. Now, unfortunately for Israel, that every time they respond, the United Nations consider they always over respond, which for me I think it's the right amount of response.
Right.
Because like Eric was saying, I think Hamas is a bunch of garbage. But anyway, I'm like they mentioned, I'm actually from the GWOT era, so Global War on Terror. 9/11 is actually why I joined. I joined specifically to kill terrorists. So I actually have a strong bias on this, so I don't want to say too much. Because everything that he was talking about with the videos and stuff, that's all straight out of the Muslim or Islamic Brotherhood terrorist group handbook. That's not. I mean, I remember when they were doing stuff in Iraq and Afghanistan, where they would like Al Qaeda or the Taliban and all of them would literally just light people alive on fire, or I remember one time, shortly before I went into the military, they had just did a public beheading of an American, or it was either an American or a British hostage. But they did it with a very dull knife, and they just slowly sawed his head off. And you can, yeah, it was pretty grotesque. But anyway, but so it's not new. It's exactly what they do. They believe in jihad, and they believe that their war is against not just the idea of Judaism, but actually killing every single Jew. And Jews are nothing to them, so they act in kind.
Yeah.
And of course, they think the same thing about us, so they'll do that, and that's why they have no qualms with capturing Americans, killing them. We're all infidels and animals to them.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new. It's like, oh well. For me, this has been going on for over 2 decades, and it's been nothing but okay. I'm used to it now. It's like I've been seeing it for the last couple decades.
That was my point, is that they've been doing this for a long time. They've gone tit for tat with a lot of other Islamic groups, and the thing about it is, and what going off a little bit of what you said, Eric, is in the country of Israel, as a citizen, you have to do, I think it's a mandatory of 2 years in the military, like right after you graduate. Like you do.
Well, I know it's mandatory. I don't know if it's 2 years though.
I was about to say it is absolutely mandatory. I know that for a fact.
Well, hence I did not mean to say.
So
there is one caveat.
What?
You have to be Jewish.
Oh well, yeah, obviously. Well, you have to be.
You can't just be an Israeli citizen. You actually have to be Jewish.
Yeah. So
of Jewish descent, or I think Arab as well.
Okay. So they require a length of service after the age of 18 or when you graduate or whatever. Like they require
almost 3 years.
Yeah, 32 months.
32 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and then a lot of them will go into the reserves or possibly just get out of it altogether. But so you're talking about, kind of going off of what Eric said, you're talking about a country that is not, they're not sheltered. They understand what it costs to keep their country free and well, in their eyes, free and to keep their country, what it should be. So I say that to say, yes, some of us are in a bubble, and some of us do not know the cost of what a soldier does, and I don't take that. I don't take that lightly. I don't take that for granted. I appreciate every service member. Every time I see somebody that has a veteran hat on or something like that, I'll ask them if they served, because sometimes you gotta be careful. Some people just wear hats just to wear hats. But I will ask them if they served, and typically if they have, they can tell you, oh yeah, this and this regiment, this, and they'll name off where they were, But all that to say, we appreciate our men and women here, and I know that Israelis appreciate their people. But this was definitely a surprise. This was definitely something that should not have happened. And I will say, if it can happen over there, it can definitely happen here.
Yep. And Hamas is about to realize what a huge mistake they just made.
I hope they do.
Much like, a lot of Israel's retaliatory response so far, they're just launching airstrikes, very precise airstrikes to destroy known locations of like weapons caches and stuff. But bear in mind, just so you're aware of who Hamas is, I actually was listening to something on the radio today where it was a.
Well, right now they're amassing troops on the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
So
but I actually watched video footage of them like destroying key buildings as of a couple days ago.
I saw that.
But I can't.
I think they were like 10, 15-story buildings or something like that.
That are now one story.
If that.
A pile of rubble.
Zero story.
But the good thing about Israel.
Yeah.
The good thing about Israel.
The height of one.
The good thing about Israel, though, is that they sent out, I think they said by social media or even by mass text, sent out to try to get all of the residents and basically all the civilians out of there. But I think they gave them 10 minutes. It's like, hey, this is about to get leveled. You should leave.
Well, they're doing that across the entire Gaza Strip. They're sending text messages. I think there's a couple other methods that I can't remember.
Social media, Telegram,
I
all
think
that.
they even have a specific bomb that when they drop it, it's only designed to kind of pop and shake the roof.
Yeah.
So that it's a warning to people, get out.
It's basically a dud, and they drop it on, and they're like, hey, you got about half hour before this becomes leveled.
Yeah.
So,
and and then they're telling them to head to the border of Egypt, and Egypt's like, no, y'all stay over there.
Well, I mean, Egypt was one of the ones that attacked Israel when it first became a country. And
yeah,
they got the floor wiped with them.
Oh yeah.
Egypt typically takes a neutrality response when there's something going on, but from what I read,
nowadays they do.
Well, no, I'm saying now. But from what I read, there's still a lot of anti-Israel hate in the country of Egypt itself.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I heard a story about a Egyptian police officer that blew away two Israeli tourists. I gotta make sure I say that right. Two Israeli tourists that were just basically doing sightseeing in Egypt, and just when all this kicked off, an Egyptian police officer shot both of them and killed them and blew them away right there. For no reason. The amount of hate is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's just crazy, but who Hamas actually is, I mean, they'll go and they'll slaughter innocent people, and then they have a main base that's located under a hospital in the Gaza Strip. They store stuff in mosques and all this stuff, and then
from what I understand, that hospital no longer stands.
Yeah, there's that mosque.
Pretty sure I saw that the video footage today.
I hope the people who are actually in the hospital, the sick people and stuff, got out. But if that mosque doesn't stand anymore, I'm not bothered by it. But there was a guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a Palestinian supporter, and someone, I think it was on MSNBC or ABC, asked him about what he thought about it, and his whole thing was talking about how the Western media needs to get away from talking about it like this because it's just not right. And then he says that only 70 Israelis are dead, and there's over 200 Palestinians that are dead. False. There's I think the number got up to 1,200 from what I saw this morning in Israel. And then he says Israel is killing civilians in their bombing runs. That's a war crime. Don't talk to me about war crimes, okay? You literally just went and slaughtered babies, women, children, and you're going to complain that the mosque you're using to store weapons caches and as a base of operations gets destroyed? Crimea River, dude.
Well,
seriously.
You got to understand where they're coming from. The idea of the Muslims of in that area, everything, even lying, is all part of the jihad, is all part of the idea of the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
And the means or the ends is create everything as Islam. So as long as what you do promotes the idea that everything is going to eventually become Islamic. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's right in the eyes of Allah.
Yeah.
So as long as it's for jihad. So that's why they blow themselves up, and that's why they use human shields, and this is why they do all these horrible things to otherwise human beings, right? It's because, well, they're not Muslim, therefore they're not deserving of life. God wills it, kind of thing, Allah has blessed me because I am doing these things, sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aloha Snack Bar.
Oh yeah, so it's like it's a very, once you get into that, understand that mentality, nothing they do becomes surprising anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like all that shock that you felt when you were watching those videos, that was our shock when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
So and that was a lot of our first time really seeing
Right.
jihad. We hadn't seen any real jihad stuff. Except for like some hijackings and
I had heard a bunch of stories from people I know who went over to the Middle East, but like when you see it, and when you see it and it's not like a horror movie or something, it's real. It just hits different.
Yeah.
To give context, our boy Eric here was not.
You were alive, but you were what, 3?
Not even. I was almost 3. I was like 2 years old when 9/11 happened.
So, and I remember watching it in the classroom. Devin remembers watching it in the classroom. Anybody that was
I was in high school when it happened.
Yeah, anybody that can remember watching it on TV,
That was our shock. Like, that was our first introduction to
what is going on here? Like, this is not. So, the original footage, if you can find it, it's very hard to watch, but there's actually people that tried to jump out
of the Twin Towers windows.
or tried to jump out of the holes
Well,
because
they didn't try. They did.
Well, yeah, they
There's
did.
actually videos of them falling out of the windows.
Yeah.
Because they thought, if I'm going to die anyways.
Might as well be quick. They're jumping out because it's like I can burn to death over the course of minutes, or I can just have a quick fall and a splat, and it's over.
Yeah. So it's definitely rough no matter how you slice it. But I wanted to say something. You said that the pro-Palestinian people are like, oh, there's only 70 Israelis.
This one guy said that. I don't know if it was
Right. No, it's fine. I just wanted to use your example. You said there's 70 Israelis dead versus 200. Okay, they brought it to Israel's doorstep. That is the ultimate, mess around and find out, okay? Israel let them find out real quick. So.
Oh, and by the way, I want to make sure I say this. I do not recognize Palestine as a state, so they can all drop dead. I don't care.
I will agree with that sentiment.
I do too. Honestly, they're going after all the leadership. Honestly, just find the entirety of Hamas and put them down.
But here's the problem:
disintegrate that entire organization.
They're being backed by other people too, and obviously it's not confirmed yet. But Iran
They're getting close, though. They are getting close to confirming it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's definitely rough, man. This is a somber episode, but hey, let's bring this round a little bit. This needs to never happen on our soil.
Actually, to that point, right? The not happening here.
Yeah.
They're already in Israel. They're already trying to push to get as many civilians armed as they can, and they're actually reducing a lot of the laws, the strict gun laws.
Right, because they have a licensing law there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I heard about that today. That the I think it's the head of the military or someone high up in the military, one of the high-ranking generals, basically told the state, "Look, we're doing away," because everybody does military service there.
Right.
So they know, everybody there knows how to handle a weapon, and everybody, and I do mean everybody inside of Israel, is on the same page. We're gonna fight. We're gonna win. Nobody is like, maybe we shouldn't. Mm-hmm. No, there's nobody on the fence about this. Every single one of them are like, we fight until we die, and we win.
That is one of the
which is
benefits,
amazing. That
it's one of the benefits of having a hegemony.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have that here in America.
Yeah.
Over there, it's very hegemonous. So they're kind of like China. They're very hegemonous, and So that everyone kind of thinks the same way. You know, for the most part, you know, they all have the kind of same values, same things.
Yeah.
That's the one difficulty, though, and hurdle that we would have to deal with if something ever like that were to ever happen. Like, we wouldn't have a mass amount like they do. Like, as small as the country of Israel is, they have like 500,000 people wanting to sign up for service right now,
Right.
which is a huge amount of their population.
That's,
Here,
yeah.
that's not really that big.
So I did the
10%,
research
I think.
and I looked at it. The state of New Hampshire is approximately 9,000 square feet ish, roughly. The entire state of Israel is about 8,000 square feet. Or I'm sorry, square miles. Sorry,
Right.
square miles.
I was like, wait a minute.
Square miles.
Wait a minute.
Math's wrong. Hold on. Devin's over there. Devin's over
I'm in
there.
Florida. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm in Florida. I'm in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
No, I meant square miles. My apologies. But in the same way, New Hampshire has
Their population is a little over 1 million. And so we're talking about New Hampshire is about 1,000 square miles bigger than the state of Israel. And they have 1 million people. A little over 1 million people in New Hampshire. There's 9 million people
Really?
in the
There's not-
population
There's not
of
that-
Israel.
There's not that many people in New Hampshire.
That's what I literally looked it up on Wikipedia. Everybody knows the internet's not wrong.
Well, they can't put anything on the internet if it's not wrong, if it's not correct.
That's a direct quote from Abraham Lincoln.
Well, no, it's a direct quote from
No,
what?
I was gonna say the direct quote. It was from George Washington: "Stay strapped or get clapped."
Oh no, no, it's from the inventor of the internet,
George Washington.
Al Gore.
Probably.
Al Gore.
Yeah, he's the inventor of the internet.
Oh yeah.
makes sense. So all of that to say, look, we need to make sure that we don't end up like that, right? And
Here's the even scarier part. I heard reports today that Hamas has actually set up sleeper cells inside of Mexico, and if anything were to go down, like basically they're working with the cartels at the same time.
I wish they would.
They're like,
They would.
they're like,
Devin's over here like, I wish somebody would.
But here's the thing. Here's the difference, right? And this is where it would become hard on us as Americans if that were to happen, a similar situation. You would hope that your neighbor is on the same page as you.
I don't care what my neighbor does. They can go run away, run in the hills. They can join them. I don't care. They can die next to them. I don't care.
well, no, here's the thing. The reason why I say that is because you got to have a group of people around you, because you as one person ain't going to do nothing.
You need 1%.
Huh?
You need 1%.
I mean, put it this way.
Oh, hold on. Explain. You need one person.
1%.
Oh, 1%. I thought you said person. I'm like,
No, 1%.
I'm like,
well, 1%.
one person?
One person can do a lot. But
Listen, you were in the Army, not the Marines.
no.
Nice try.
percent.
No.
I agree. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, put it like this: if something like that were to happen, I know Devin's got at least a few people who'd be willing to stand by his side with that. I'm definitely if something does go down and they try something like that in the U.S., I have this mental image of like they're like, we will invade America, and I'm here like, promise.
Well, the difference between us and Israel is Israel does have a little bit stricter gun laws and stuff like that, whereas certain states have stricter gun laws, and I would even venture to say not even states, certain cities have real strict gun laws. But here's the thing,
And the reason why I said you would really hope your neighbor's on your side, because
I would absolutely like if
I've got people coming down my street and you and Eric don't have time to get here because y'all live like 30 minutes away or whatever, however long, I ain't going to hold off. Like, if some of those videos of those guys going into that music festival, there was like 15, 20 of them armed to the teeth with vests running in there just spraying and praying. And they took out like 200 people at that music festival.
You also got to remember, it's kind of easy when a whole bunch of people are not armed and don't have armor and don't have. But if they're invading us,
And fatal funneling.
right? If they're invading us, right?
You hope there's a good boy on every other block,
Not
every
even-
other street.
It's not even that. It's going to be house to house. They have to take the urban areas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's not a wide open field where it's just shooting a stinking
where
fish in
there's
a barrel,
no cover or
right?
anything.
Yeah, that's very true. I didn't think about that.
Especially here, especially in Florida, man. South Texas might be a little more difficult. It's a bit more flat.
Yeah.
But there's also not a whole bunch of people just
Hold
sitting
on.
out there in the middle of nowhere.
Pause. I'm just gonna say this once. Don't do it in Texas. Just don't.
Well, they would have.
I promise
They
you,
would have
you
to
will
do-
lose that war.
they would
Ask,
have to-
ask Mexico.
They would end up starting with probably California.
More than likely.
But still, it's like logistically speaking, Hamas does not have the abilities to do much with America.
No.
What they will do instead, they will commit terrorist acts.
Yeah.
Suicide bombers, things like that. Return to the old days of early GWAT and all that, where they're trying to dismay public opinion. Doesn't usually work. Usually works the opposite way.
Right.
But
September 12th was a great day for the country.
yeah. So
See,
it's
that's another thing you didn't get to experience, man. September 11th sucks so bad. September 12th, everybody stood up and was like, "You're dead.
it was the
We'll make sure you die."
It was that week following.
Yeah.
Was the first time I ever seen Republicans and Democrats stand up and sing "God Bless America"
Yeah, together.
together, just out of the blue. Just started singing, and every one of them joined
Yeah.
up. It's like, okay,
And that is the spirit of America, people.
week two.
That is the American spirit right there. And just like the Israelis have a very similar spirit of they're a proud people. You ain't gonna mess with them.
Yeah, especially, say what people don't like him, but a lot of people don't like him, at least in the world front. But I like Benjamin Netanyahu,
Yeah,
but that guy is hardcore. He used to be special forces and all that stuff. So
yeah.
he used to actually do anti-terrorism and all that kind of stuff. So it's like,
That dude knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So when he
And-
comes out and he's like, the price is going to be huge, everyone's like, oh,
he's like, yeah, it's going to be.
Well, not to mention, I heard a story today that his brother was actually, I want to say it was in Uganda or somewhere in Africa. His brother was actually killed and taken hostage and killed by another militant group down there. So for him, it's a little bit more personal.
Right.
It hits a little bit closer to home.
Not to mention, okay, if that happened in America, like we were talking about, all Americans are going to stand up. We're going to stand up. I don't care what side you voted for. Let's put our crap aside. Let's go get them. Let's take care of the threat first, and then we can go back to bickering.
So that's how we would take it.
Although I don't know if that'll happen again, or how well that would happen again after the whole issues with Iraq and Afghanistan basically failing, more or less, or at least failing in the eyes of the American public. I don't know how united we'll be again.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I will say one of the amazing things that amazing in a different sense, is when the attacks happen, you have people like you mentioned in Chicago, New York, praising Palestine. You even had United States congressmen or congresswomen and saying that there needs to be de-escalation and they need to negotiate with them.
Anthony Blinken, you're a disgrace to the human race.
Ilhan Omar was one of the
I was about
people.
to mention her, yeah.
You're a
Rashida
disgrace to the
Tlaib.
human race,
AOC.
too.
AOC. But all these people that they're showing, what's the word I'm looking for?
Ignorance.
Well, that,
Oh,
but
1,000%.
sympathy. They're showing sympathy
Oh, yeah,
to
they're sympathizing.
Hamas,
Yes,
and then you have all these other people that are like, well, I don't want to take a position. You have one side that just wants to literally have the right to exist,
Yeah.
and you have another side that eviscerates babies.
Yep.
And you mean to tell me you can't pick a side on that? You've already chosen your side then.
Not to mention kills women, children, rapes the women, strips them naked in the back of a truck, takes them across their border, spits on them while they're driving. Yeah, it's bad. So if you really can't choose a side, use your brain.
If you can't choose a side, we already know what side you're on.
Right.
And it's not the good side. It's just the fact that this is happening, and it's really just kind of all striking to me that it's happening in Western countries, in places like London, in places I think Great Britain was doing it. It definitely was happening in the United States, and it's shocking to me that these people can come out and sympathize with Hamas, and then it also makes me wonder if the attacks did happen here, how many of those people would vocalize and say, we just need to give them what they want, we just need to negotiate with them, versus the people who are like, I'm not negotiating, I'm defending. I'll fight to the death to protect my freedoms.
And that's actually a fun fact about Israel is they are very much a non-offense country. They are mostly defense. Like, they will not go after anybody. They will stay neutral. But you mess with them, and you're going to find out. Like, they will retaliate. And I honestly, I don't know if we said this yet. I don't know if you said this, Devin, but I will agree with what Benjamin Netanyahu said, that they need to totally wipe them off the face of the planet. Their response needs to be swift, and it needs to be totally destructive. Not for any other reason than the fact that they have played patty cake with freaking Hamas for a long time now. And look at where it's got them. I think that's every Israeli's sentiment is, we're done. We're done. You're done. That's it. They've had enough. And so I also wanted to say, you said you were talking about the sympathizers and stuff, and I started thinking about it. Like, it's crazy because people. Oh my gosh, Devin, edit like a cane right here.
Kids in your generation.
I feel old saying that, but no, the younger generation that only learned about 9/11 in history books and stuff like that, like. I wouldn't say they sympathize, but they're like, "Oh, we don't want war. We just want peace. We don't want to be at war with none of these people." And then when like a certain president decides to strike one of the highest Iranian generals, everybody loses their stinking mind. Like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna start a war." You have to understand, like, there was leftover animosity from everything that happened. So. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and one of the most exciting days that I've witnessed in my life, and it's kind of bad, and I don't know if it's morbid, but it was one of the most exciting days. It was when I woke up the morning that they found Osama bin Laden and absolutely said, for God and for country, Geronimo, Osama's dead. That's what the operators, that was their code word, was Geronimo. Mm-hmm. And so when President Obama came out and said that tonight we have found, I think it was actually at night when he said it, he said today we have executed such and such plans, and I had never had more respect for that man than that day. Although there is conspiracy that he's not actually dead, but you know.
I actually remember that day too, because I was in the Army.
Yeah.
When that happened, and
that was a party day then.
No, everybody got recalled because they thought there was going to be extreme retaliation from the Taliban.
Really?
So we had to I didn't know that was what happened.
Yeah.
Because I was just getting back to work. Or getting to work. But that was the busiest I've ever seen everyone get back into Fort Sill.
Really?
And I was like, man, what is going on? This is usually, because I usually get there a lot earlier than a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, why is everyone getting here so early? Well, apparently they had recalled all the people who were on leave and all that stuff.
Yeah.
To come back. So everyone was coming in, and then I found out, they killed Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
So we got briefed, and hey, be careful out there because, it could be retaliations and things like that against the American soldiers and service members and all that stuff. So I remember it for a little bit different reason.
Yeah.
It's like I was happy that it happened, but I was like, ooh, this is going to suck.
Yeah. You were like hoping nobody messed with me.
Right.
I mean, I remember the first big terrorist killing that I witnessed was the killing of al-Baghdadi.
Oh, yeah.
The leader of ISIS.
Yeah.
And
were you old enough to remember Saddam Hussein getting executed?
no,
I watched that video.
Me too. Yeah.
I watched the video of him hanging, dude. There was supposed to be no media. There was supposed to be. You know what happened? One of the Iranian guys that was there filmed it on his flip phone.
Yep.
And like you actually saw that dude, and they actually had an international court trial with Saddam Hussein, and he lost. Like they actually did a full scale, like actual, real court trial, and he was, what was he charged with? Like war crimes and crimes against humanity and all kinds of stuff. And so they finally, I guess they came to the conclusion that, hey, this guy's absolutely guilty. He's going to die by hanging.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you're one of your role models is Hitler.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Well, that for sure. That
was...
Phew.
You want to talk about seeing stuff like live when you're like... And you're like, that's not a movie? When I watched that, I was like, oh, that's not a movie. His foot's still kicking.
Yeah,
That's
you know what's kind of funny.
What?
So since I'm a little bit older than both of y'all, I remember when military.com used to have a section called Shock and Awe,
Ooh.
and it was all just videos of combat footage, and it was
No editing.
no editing.
Ooh.
So if I've seen, there was one guy. He was out there. He was. I think he was. This was Iraq. I think so. It was Al Qaeda. He was like there was a rounded corner, right, of a wall, and he was just kind of peeking out and popping shots at a general direction. Well, apparently a sniper had him on his sights, and he took him down. And
He kept sticking his head out in the same spot.
no, not
didn't he?
it wasn't that. It was his whole body.
Oh my
Because he didn't know
gosh.
there was a sniper, so he would pop out real quick, shoot, and he'd pop back in. Well, then he popped out, and the guy shot him, and he just folded like a stinking piece of paper. And then
Folded him like an omelet.
Yeah,
Oh.
so-
I feel like I've seen that because I have a very like faint memory of it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's made its rounds.
That's the type of stuff I have seen is like just random combat footage from like either the Taliban recording it and engaging U.S. soldiers or vice versa. Like I've seen firefight footage and stuff before, and you know I've seen footage of a dude who got cut in half, basically because he got shot with a Barrett.
No, yeah.
Oh.
But it was actually interesting to I forget
Hopefully
this.
that one's quick.
Well, he got cut in half, but
Entry wound. Exit wound.
But it was actually interesting because this guy, I forget the sniper's name, but basically the scenario is the soldier was providing overwatch for his buddies, and I think they were being shot at from a sniper in an apartment building, and the guy was pretty decent ways away, but I do remember he had a Barrett, and the way he calculated the distance was by using the middle dots to measure the door frame. And then he knew how far it's supposed to be, like in terms when you're standing up close to it, how wide it's supposed to be. And so he managed to make the
smart.
calculations on the spot, and then he hit him like right here. But because of like the bullet velocity and how far it traveled, I guess it just built up a lot of energy. And
Oh
just-
yeah.
Yeah, it basically hit terminal velocity, and
Yep. And I was
Oh,
like,
rough.
that's pretty cool.
Wow.
All right. Going back to what I was saying before. Please do not comply or conform to any of this gun control stuff. I'm not saying don't follow the law. To the extent that you can, follow the stinking law. I'm not telling you to break the law at all. But put the pressure on your congresspeople. Put the pressure on your senators, your House representatives, whatever it takes. Like, because you don't want us to end up in that situation and us not have a chance to protect ourselves. You know?
Like, it may have been a little bit of a different story if everybody at that concert or whatever was armed, or if a lot of people in that area were armed. Because I saw a video of a car, it was a dash cam going down the road, and these Hamas guys just came out of nowhere and started lighting up the car. Not to say that you'd have had enough time to respond, but I mean, at least, you know...
although I would say, he probably wouldn't have been the garbage in Vegas, probably wouldn't have happened as easily. There's a reason he was able to do it so easily. He had to be in a room shooting into a crowd because Vegas actually has pretty loose or pretty decent gun laws.
Yeah.
So people can open carry just fine without a license in Vegas. So if he were to go out there and just start randomly trying to shoot people, he probably would have been put down pretty quick. So he had to hide from a very high point and shoot downward into a crowd in order to give longevity.
Yeah. Question. Since you lived over in Vegas, do you have to be a resident of Nevada to do that?
Not for open carry.
Not for open carry. So if you're a tourist, if you live in the States but you wanted to go over there and go on the Strip, if you had your firearm, you could go open carry or...
Technically. Now, obviously, you can't just go into hotels and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because it's the hotel's prerogative.
Yeah.
Because they have alcohol and things like that in there.
Sure.
But technically, you can walk down the Strip, although I usually don't recommend walking down the Strip because there's too many foreigners, and they'll be like, "Hey," because like my range, who was actually on the Strip, would have to actually got the police called on us because they saw people. Because we did our own advertising.
Yeah.
So we were taking pictures of guns outside, and some foreigner or something called the cops on us.
Oh, dang.
So the cop came in and was like, so we got a call saying someone saw guns. I'm like, yeah, take your pick.
Which one?
Literally
Can
had
you
a
be
wall
more
of guns.
specific?
And it's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll come in later.
That
That probably didn't end well for the.
That cop walked in and goes,
Oh, I know where I'm shopping from now on.
Cop walks out and the guy's like, "Hey, did you do with it?" "No, I bought something."
No, I bought a gun. I'm coming back later to pick it up.
"Oh, it was a deal, all right." But
Yeah, that whole Vegas thing, that was rough. I seen some videos from that as well. And all the more reason,
and that was actually a domestic thing. That wasn't even like a terrorist thing. That was just a person who was mentally unstable.
yeah, I mean,
It's still a terrorist act, but
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, for
another example would be the Pulse nightclub shooting down in Orlando.
Yep.
So fun fact,
and that guy pledged his allegiance to ISIS, I believe, while he was doing it.
Yeah.
So that actually happened 2 miles away from where I lived before I moved to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But
That happened a year after I had moved to Indiana, and like a year and a couple of months later is when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up because I didn't know where the Pulse nightclub was, but I looked it up and I was like, oh snap, that was like 2 miles from where I used to live.
Right.
And actually, I just heard some news on the whole property that's on, that they actually did not allow the lease to be renewed. So they're actually going to be bulldozing that property, and the memorial is going to be gone.
Dang.
that's weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're doing it.
I remember going down there the day that it happened. Went
Yeah.
down to the memorial and everything, and just seeing all the people there.
So, yeah, the one thing I remember from that, and I was like, man, that's what it truly means to be like a good person right there. I remember that the Chick-fil-A's in the area, it was on a Sunday, and Chick-fil-A's are normally closed. The workers actually went back in and cooked up a storm and fed like the survivors, the first responders, the police officers, and everybody that was there. Kind of like a show of, hey, we got your back, and that's what I'm talking about. Like that makes me feel good as a Christian, but also as just an American. Like that truly shows love right there. Like everyone wants to say, oh, Chick-fil-A is a Christian company, they don't like gays or they don't like this or that, whatever. Mm-hmm. But like that day, they showed up, man. They showed up.
We don't have to hate you to disagree with you.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Unlike
we can disagree with you and still love you.
Unlike the Muslim Brotherhood,
Oh gosh.
we do not hate you and want you dead because we disagree with your ideologies.
Right.
I mean,
we just disagree. That's the great thing about being an American. You can disagree and not go bang. Sorry, YouTube.
But I mean,
I just made a moderator mad on that one.
Now I have to. Man. Edit that.
Put a toy gun in there.
little squirt gun. Just put a Nerf Super Soaker.
What were you gonna say?
But no, I mean, I remember that because I went down there with another guy who, coincidentally, his name was actually also Eric.
Eric and Eric.
Look at that.
And but he made a bunch of PB&J sandwiches and was just handing them out to people when we went down there.
That's awesome, man.
The type of stuff it's.
I heard stories from the first responders that walked in there, that were the first ones to walk in there after everything settled and they finally got the gunman. Like the first medics that went in there, they were talking about how eerie the scene was because people's cell phones started going off.
Yep.
From loved ones trying to reach them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, you want to talk about rough? You want to talk about like really messing with your mental? Like,
oh yeah.
Oh, that's rough, dude.
That's rough. There's still first responders in our area that like are getting counseling from stuff like that since that happened.
Oh yeah, because it's bad. I mean, it's like you can't answer the phone, and then imagine having to explain to those family members a bunch of times over.
I wouldn't. I would not be able to. I'd get on the phone with one person, and they'd lose it, and I'd lose it, and I'd be like, "I'm so sorry."
I mean, I know
that sounds like I'm being heartless and making fun of it. I am not making fun of it at all. Like that would be a very difficult thing to do as like a leader, as like a commander in the army or whatever, like to explain to anyone that your loved one has passed.
What?
No.
You called you commander, you're now an officer.
No, he's an NCO. There's a difference.
Yes.
I know.
But the NCOs would still have to inform, like, family, wouldn't they?
No.
No?
Oh.
Shut that down real quick.
No, that's the officer's job, man.
No.
No, I might write something.
Oh no, you did. You said you did funeral duty. That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I wasn't. The family already knew they were dead.
Well, thanks for that. Yeah, no. That, regardless, that's a rough thing.
You just said that like so freely. Like I show up when they're already dead.
Yeah, basically. I mean, no, I did have to do a clear training and be part of the clear team, which is the team that if you're on, after a battle, you actually go in and you clean up the remains. I did have to do that.
That's rough.
We almost got in Fort Sill. We almost got called up to do that because we had a death on Fort Sill due to an accident.
Mm-hmm. I think you told me about this one. Was it the one where the guy got?
Yeah, he got crushed between two M270 launchers. Basically cut in half. And it kind of sucked because the guy was still alive because it was basically the two vehicles were basically holding him together. Mm-hmm. So he was still alive, but as soon as they would move him, he would die. So they brought in his family to say goodbye to him, and then had to open it up. Like that unit, that was literally the unit right. Our unit was in the field when it happened. The unit that it happened to was literally the one right next to ours. So it happened in the motor pool that was literally we shared the fence of the vehicle that it was, or the motor pool that it was in, and that unit, they gave them like 4 or 5 months of leave just to so they wouldn't be all messed up in the head. So they had to go through like a whole bunch of counseling and all that kind of stuff. We had to go through a whole bunch of new policies and everything to make sure that didn't happen again, and it was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I really tried to make sure that this episode wasn't so somber, but it's a rough thing to talk about, man.
You're welcome.
Well, no. It's not just you. It's all of us, man. I mean, we all are just reflecting on the events that have happened, and it's rough, man. It's rough.
War is hell, man.
Absolutely. And that's why I always tell people, man, practice your spiritual fitness, because on the day that you're going to need that, you may not have time. you may not have time to practice that. So,
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Any last thoughts? Wisdom?
Yeah, actually.
What you
I just
got?
want to read something. It's Genesis 12, 1 through 3. And it says, Now the Lord said to Abram, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
Would you like to explain that for those
That
who
is
may not
that
be
is essentially
Christian?
the birth of Israel, and also discussing that, and for us, not only promising Israel, but also warning those who go against Israel.
Right. I will bless those who
But
bless
then-
who bless you, and I will curse those.
But
who
then
curse you.
not only that, but also prophesying of Jesus Christ, which is important to us as Christians.
Yeah.
So 3 major things in that,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to put that out there.
there's a reason why they've been a long-standing ally of us, and there's no reason. I don't care if it's the younger generation. I don't care what side of the aisle it is. There's no reason to not jump in and help them when, like Eric said earlier, they're literally just trying to live their stinking life. That's it. They're just trying to live. There's no reason why America shouldn't help them. If we're going to sit there and send all that extra money to Ukraine, and not even extra money, you know, if we're going to sit there and send a bunch of money and weapons and all that to Ukraine, why not to one of our allies who is a NATO ally?
I think there's a couple of destroyers parked outside of Israel.
Oh, they're on the way. It's the Ford Strike Group.
No, well, there are. I think they're already out there. There's a couple of them that I think that are already out there right now.
They definitely sent an aircraft carrier. Did you
Yep.
see that?
Well,
It's
we
got
always,
6
we always have a presence in that area,
I know.
in the Mediterranean.
I think
Sea.
they parked it though outside of the crap. What is it called? The West something?
West Bank.
West Bank. Yeah, they parked outside the West Bank. They're like,
That's
come on.
that's inward.
No, they can't. No, they probably parked it out closer to the Gaza. Gaza Strip is over by the.
I mentioned it was something like close to the West Bank, but
I was gonna say
Well,
the
the
West
West Bank's inland.
the West Bank is inland.
I
That'd
don't
be
know.
like saying they parked the ships near Orlando.
I don't know. I'm not good with geography. Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
just
so
trying to help.
you got Israel
What
here,
did I
right?
ask?
So you got it. So
Whoa.
you got Israel,
Whoa.
right?
Hey, I'll
so you got
smash this
Israel.
bottle.
Smash it. Quiet. The adults are talking.
So you
Why
got-
don't you leave the room? Mommy and Daddy got to fight.
Punch you. Wow. I mean, I've done more adulting in 7 years than you have done in your entire adult life.
That's fair.
Yeah, but you're also the shortest, so why don't you leave? Mommy and Daddy are talking.
Hey, whoa.
Shortness don't matter.
Whoa, first off, who's mommy? Okay, because that's,
You.
not happening. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
I will
That comment
say,
will be ignored. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. We appreciate you. All of those who watch our videos. Look, I know. I look at how many views are there. I look at how many subscribers are there. Don't forget to subscribe. We talk about stuff all the time, but mostly try to keep it upbeat. This one was a little bit rough. This one was a kind of a need to talk about. And all the more reason, arm yourself. So that if something like this happens, you're not defenseless. Good?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. Have a good one.